that democratic equality has to make room for an expanding range of difference and otherness. As a result, the public sphere, or community in contemporary democracy, is challenged or jeopardized by both economic and cultural developments. Here one begins to see the profound predicament of contemporary democracy, the fact that it is embroiled in a stark dilemma or antinomy. Neoliberal capitalism entails the sundering or breaking down of all non-economic social relations. In particular, the policy of deregulation has as a consequence the atomization of society into a multitude of competing fragments, pretty much in line with Hobbes's conception of the state of nature, war of all against all. In its wake, however, this atomization leaves a void of meaning beyond the goal of self-satisfaction. Sooner or later, this void has to be filled in order to give people a motive for social participation. As a rule, what fills the need of meaning for people is chauvinistic nationalism, or the pursuit of national self-interest. Here we find the roots of liberal or neoliberal totalitarianism, the unification of selfish interests in a nationalist or imperialist agenda. To be sure, in actuality, individual and national interest only coincide in the case of an elite of oligarchs or plutocrats. Here one can also appreciate fully Heidegger's statement in his letter on humanism that self-seeking nationalism is metaphysically on the same page with anthropologism and individual subjectivism. The point of this book is to find a path beyond narrow selfishness and populist nationalism, a path which in broad terms involves the recovery of a shared interhuman space or world. The book takes its departure from the present wasteland of atomization, from the grim condition of neoliberal egocentrism and narcissism. As a first step out of this morass, the text commends a turn to interhuman ethics, especially to Aristotelian ethos, with its emphasis on engaged being and social praxis. From here, the path leads to the tradition of natural rightness, as found in the Hebrew Bible, in Sophocles, and also in Hobbes. Shifting the accent to contemporary politics, the book next explores the viability of liberal socialism as a necessary ingredient of an ethical and justice-seeking democracy, devoid of egalitarianism pressures. From here on, all the following chapters deal with variations or different levels of relationality, seen as an antidote to unilateral selfishness, as will be detailed in Chapter 1. Thus, attention is given to the tensional relation between local and global concerns under the heading of glocalism, to the relation between reason and faith, as illustrated in the contest between world history and salvation history, and finally to the conundrum of particularism and universal holism and its impact on the meaning of freedom, as well as the prospect of a just world maintenance. As I should add, the search for and recovery of a shared public space or world involves also the recovery of a viable private sphere, free from the stain of unilateral acquisitiveness. In this domain, neoliberalism has been the source of great inner desolation and perversion. Where, one can ask, is there still room for genuine privacy, when everything, all traditional public goods, are the target of acquisitive privatization, from schools, parks, and nature reserves to prisons, police, and private armies? Clearly, privacy has to be emptied or cleansed of all utilitarian traces to emerge again as the reflective mirror of the world. A tall order. A few concluding words. If individual decentering or the debunking of egocentrism is the hallmark of post-liberalism, then I am not so much an author with authority, but a decentered participant in this work. I owe so many debts to so many people that listing them all would require another volume. To be exceedingly brief, let me just mention such close friends as Richard Falk, Ashish Nandi, Tu Wei Ming, and Marietta Stepanians. Closest to me, of course, is my wife Ilsa, with whom I celebrated recently our 60th wedding anniversary. My gratitude to her is immense, as is my gratitude to the rest of the family, children and grandchildren. In terms